Hey everybody, this is Peter and welcome to my kitchen today. Well, many of us have gone to some really nice steakhouses in our lives and we've had some of the breads they offer at these great steakhouses. But lately I've been going to a couple of steakhouses and I've been really unimpressed with the very bland bread they've been putting on the table. And some of these restaurants are really pricey. So I thought I would kind of dig in a little bit more and see how we can make some really good, really tasty steakhouse style rolls. Are you ready? Me too. Let's go. Okay, let's go over some list of ingredients, and the list is a little bit long on this. I do apologize about that, but it's what it takes to bring this recipe together. So I'm going to have a link to the ingredients down below in the description area, so you can certainly look down there and you'll see all the ingredients listed out for you. All right, the first thing we're going to have here is 12 ounces of strong brewed coffee. This has also been cooled, so it's not right out of the coffee maker. So we'll just pour that into our pot. 12 ounces of strong brewed coffee. The next thing is 1/4 cup of molasses. Now I just happen to use grandma's molasses. I think it's available most anywhere in the US anyway, maybe around the world as far as I know. So we have 1/4 cup of molasses going into our mixture. You're going to want to use a spoon or a little spatula to get all this out, because otherwise it's going to take forever to get all this out. So just use your spatula, go around and get all of that out as best you can. Okay, we're going to give this a little mix. Okay, that's all mixed together pretty nicely. Now I'm going to be putting in a packet of rapid rise yeast. I happen to use Platinum yeast by Red Star on this bread. It's a very strong yeast and it does a great job, as you will see. And it kind of cuts through some of the stuff that some other yeast may not be able to do. So I use Red Star Platinum. It's a little bit of a challenge to find, to be honest with you. So you may want to look around. Otherwise, just use what you have. I'm just telling you what I'm using. Red Star Platinum. We'll mix all that in, giving this yeast time to hydrate. See those little circles right there of yeast? Just try to get all those stirred in there very, very well. Okay, you can tell that that yeast has hydrated pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. The next thing I'm going to be putting in is 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Just 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, mix that in. The next thing is 1½ teaspoons of salt. Pour that into the mixture. The next thing is 1/4 teaspoon of regular oil. Now don't use olive oil on this one, it's a little too strong perhaps. So we're just going to be using some canola oil or vegetable oil on this one. So 1/4 cup is what you need. And we'll stir that in also. Now I'm going to move on to the flours we're going to be using today. The flours are going to be 3 cups or 360 grams of bread flour, and then 1 cup or 120 grams of whole wheat flour. I'm going to put these here, and I'm going to be tearing that off and also making sure it's 0, and then we'll come back and start putting these in. Make sure it's set on grams. I'm after 360 grams of bread flour. You really want to be measuring your flours. So I used to not do that. I used to just simply put some flour in my cup, scoop it off, put it in. I was finding I was having some inconsistent results. So I started measuring things and things started coming out a lot better. So we're going for 360 on the bread flour. Now I'm going to put in 120 grams, about 1 cup of whole wheat flour. The whole wheat flour is going to give it a little more structure and also more taste and some color. So now I'm going to go up to 480 grams total of the flours. 360 plus 120, 480. Now into the flour, I'm going to be putting in 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Now this is unsweetened cocoa powder. This is going to give it a really nice color. Recently I was on a cruise, and during the cruise they had some really interesting breads on there. It was like a oatmeal, but it was very, very dark color. So I happened to pull one of the chefs aside and say, hey, how do you do that? How do you get the color on there? And he was kind enough to share with me that they use cocoa powder in their mixture. And so that's turned out nicely. It's a good idea. No, this does not taste like chocolate. It does not. But it tastes very, very earthy, and it's a very, very deep flavor. So over here I have the coffee, which is the fluid, the liquid. And now we're going to be putting in slowly the flours into the wet ingredients. I'll be right back with my whisk. Okay, I'm ready to start putting in the dry ingredients into the wet. So I'll be putting in about a third or so at a time. I like to use a dough whisk for this, and that's the one that I like. You can buy these on Amazon for about 10 bucks or so. They're not expensive. If you don't have this, you can always use a spatula, but if you're using a spatula, remember, use the stick end, not the big spatula end. All right, so let's go ahead and start putting this into the wet. I will start stirring that in with the bread whisk. Excuse me, dough whisk, not bread whisk, dough whisk. Just add about a third of the time. The smell of the molasses is incredible. The smell of the coffee is incredible. The coffee is just helping to give some color, to be honest with you. Just like the cocoa powder. It's just giving some color, not going to giving a taste. Just move all the stuff around. You're just trying to get the flours hydrated into the wet. Just keep on going around. You can see it's coming together very, very nicely. Use my spatula and knock all this off. Okay, now you want to use this side of the spatula and come around and just try to get all of the flours off of the sides and then into the dough mixture. Also on the bottom, if you see any left, just go ahead and bring that into the dough with a spatula. Now, one of the things you want to do now is reach underneath the dough and just pull it over on top of each other. What we're doing here is just called some folding. And so a lot of people don't show you this, but I think it's a good idea to do this. You can turn the bowl. I try to go around maybe 6 or 8 times. Keep on folding it over itself. This is not a requirement, but I have just found that this gives us a better end result, and that's why I use it. Okay, you want to cover this up with some plastic wrap and set this into a warm place. I have an oven back here, my Breville oven, that has a proofing feature, so that's where I'm going to be putting mine. And I'll put this in there for 2 hours at about 83 degrees, more or less. You can choose the temperature. Some people say as low as 75. I typically have found that it works really well around 80 to 85. In my proofing oven, yours may be different. Plastic wrap is important because you don't want the dough to develop a skin. So that's why we're going to cover this up, and then we'll be putting it back here in the proofing oven. Okay, I'm going to get myself cleaned up, get the dough that I made earlier, bring that up, and we'll continue on. I'll show you the rest. Be right back. You can see it here with the plastic wrap all the way around it. Again, put the plastic wrap there so the dough does not develop a skin. Okay, ready to go into the proofing oven. If you don't have a proofing oven, it's okay. You can also set this into the microwave with the light on. That works great too. You can turn on your oven to like 200 degrees, turn it off, and let it sit into the warm oven for 2 hours. That works too. If you don't have any of those, you can just set it on your counter and watch it until it's at least double in size. Okay, be right back. Okay, I'm ready to go on and show you how to continue making these steakhouse style bread loaves. And these are going to be like a mini loaf, like you would see on the table of a really nice steakhouse. So what I have here is a silicone mat. I have found that working with the silicone mat and dough works really, really well because the mat doesn't move around such as parchment paper would do. So I got this again. I got it over at Amazon. It cost me about 12 bucks. This is a really big one, which I like. All right, what you want to do is put a little bit, and I don't mean a lot. I do mean just a little bit of flour around here. gently let the dough come out of the bowl. You can use a scraper, as I'm doing here, just to help nudge it out, but be gentle. Sometimes I've seen videos where people are degassing bread dough in the bowl, and yeah, it's just not what I'm after. So you can see this is coming out very well, and the color is fantastic. It's got a beautiful coffee and chocolate color to it. The molasses helped a lot too. All right, now I want you just to sprinkle a little bit of flour on the top. Now this is a high hydration dough, so it's going to be sticky. Now put some flour on your hands, just like this, okay, a little flour, and just pat this down a little bit. If you feel some sticky parts, just put a little bit of flour right there. Again, not very much, not very much. All right. I'll pull this up. If you see it's sticky, just kind of put some flour there. Not very much, please. A little sticky right there. Put some flour down so it'll hang with us. Here we got a little more. A little sticky there. Yeah, it's working great. The smell of this, my friends, is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull this and make a ball out of this dough. So just grab a hold of the corner and move it to the center. Grab a hold of this one and move it over to the center, just like that. Grab a hold of this one, pull it up and move it to the center. Grab a hold of this one, pull, bring it to the center. Grab a hold of this one, pull, move it to the center. Now the purpose of this is that it's going to help us break the dough into pieces, the pieces the sizes that I would like. Just see here, I'm using my hands and I'm reaching down and I'm cupping and just pulling that in, pulling this in, pulling it in, just like that. Really simple, right? Yeah, really simple. And if you feel that it's getting a little tacky, just put a little more flour on your hands and it will be less tacky. So just break it down here. And you can see it's going to be a little sticky there. Okay, I have now divided these into two pieces, and I'm going to cut each of these into two. So I'm going to be making a total of 4 mini loaves with this. Just cut that right in two with your dough blade, right in two, just like this. So we're going to be making 4 of these. Okay, now I'm going to move these to the parchment paper because these are going to go into the oven in a few minutes, and I'll be using the parchment paper to put them onto the baking stone. By the way, speaking of baking stone, I did put a baking stone in the middle of my oven, and that's where it stays now. So I put that in there, and it's at about 350 degrees today. Okay, you can see how I'm making these loaves just by shaping them here, correct? Correct. Pat them down a little bit. They don't have to be exact. I'm going to use a spray bottle, and I'm just going to moist these very, very lightly with some water. Sprinkle some oatmeal on top and kind of pat those in. This is only for decoration. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just put some plastic wrap here, and I like to just kind of shoot that with some canola oil. I'm going to flip this over so that it doesn't stick to the bread. That's why I'm using the canola oil. Just like that. Okay, looks perfect. Very good. Okay, on top of this, I'm going to now put the linen towel, so it won't kind of stick to that linen towel down below. I'm going to let these sit here for about 30 minutes before we go into the oven, so they're going through a second proofing. So I'll be back in about 30 minutes. We're going to slide them into the oven at about 350, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Be right back. Okay, everybody, you can see that these mini loaves have been resting for about 30 minutes, and they have doubled in size. Some of them are a little bit bigger than double in size. That's okay. So I'm just going to move this over and kind of move that in a little bit if I can. Same way with this one. They're all looking good. Okay, my oven's been preheating at 350 now for over an hour, and my baking stone is all there, and so I'm just going to be using my pizza peel and grab these and put them into the oven for us. So let me get that done, and I'll come back and show you the end result because they're going to be fantastic. Be right back. All right, my friends, I want to show you just how beautiful these steakhouse style mini loaves turned out. They turned out just fantastic. I'm so happy with them. And now we have to do the hardest thing in the world while baking, and that is to wait. Wait until they cool down. So I'm going to give these about a half hour or so to cool down, and then I'll cut one of these open for you and let you see the crumb. So I'll be back real soon, show you that last piece, and we'll be done. Well, look at this, my friends. Here's the crumb of that mini loaf. It looks fantastic, doesn't it? It looks super good. Let me tell you, it tastes even better. I want to say thank you very much for watching the video today. I really do appreciate it. Please do me a favor, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, and if you're watching on television, you can click on this QR code right over here, and you can go right to our subscribe page, and you can go ahead and subscribe right from your phone. Well, thanks again for watching. Really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Take care.